Today in this video, we're going to talk about what credit score do you need to buy a house? To buy a house, what credit score do you need? Because there's a lot of misinformation going out around here. Hi, I'm Rhonda Burgess, and I'm a real estate broker and mortgage underwriter here in the Nashville, Tennessee area, and my firm is Southern Living Realty Partners. All righty then, let's get to it. What credit score do you need? I did a video the other day, and I talked about how sometimes especially on the federal government side, what the federal government guidelines say don't necessarily make it real, or they're not the guidelines to go by. Okay, so let's talk about it. Your FHA loans and your USDA loans really say, the guidelines say, they have no minimum credit score. They say they have no minimum. Sometimes you hear numbers batted around like, oh, it's a 580 or it's a 620 or it's a 640 or it's a 660. But honest and truly, when you read the guidelines for each of these programs, FHA and USDA, they say there is no minimum credit score. That really what it is up to the underwriting computer. It's up to the analysis of the computer to say what the minimum credit score is. Now, that's true, but it's not. Because let me tell you this. As I said in my previous video, people who make policy and who write guidelines a lot of times don't know anything about the mortgage business, don't really know, or they're so removed from the actual day-to-day things that happen in the mortgage business. And let's be honest, when the federal government, when FHA, USDA, VA, all of them come out with these guidelines, right? That's based off of what the policymakers think the public wants. Like, you can follow if you follow a bill from beginning to the end that goes through Congress, right? They'll say they want more affordable housing and this and that. Okay. And so then that gets parlayed and from the actual congressmen and women who write the bills and everything. And then they send it down, and then it comes to each department like USDA or HUD, Housing Administration. Okay. So then they're telling them, okay, this is what the people want. This is what we passed in this bill. That's cool. But it may not work in the real world. So I say all that to say this. Even though these programs say they don't have a minimum credit score, they do not, the government themselves do not do these loans. They are done through lenders, through banks, through mortgage institutions, through all types of financial institutions. Okay. So that may be your local bank. Like here in Nashville, that may be Regions Bank. You may go to Bank of America. You may go to First Tennessee, First Horizon, or, wherever. You may go to Chase. You may go to whoever, whatever bank, whatever credit union, whoever you're dealing with. You go to that bank and then you say you want a FHA or you want a USDA loan. That's fine. But what you need to understand is that those lenders, the actual people lending the money, have guidelines and rules of their own. And a lot of times in the mortgage game, we call it an overlay, because it's like the USDA guidelines are right here, and then the lender has their own overlay, right? That goes on top of those guidelines. So a lot of times your lenders have a minimum credit score. A lot of times, 99% of the time, they have other minimum qualifications. Even though the USDA may just say, okay, well, yeah, they don't have to have no minimum credit score, and we don't have to have no minimum this, and we don't have to have no minimum that. Because see, what they're doing is they are doing what they're told to do. They're told to make these policies because that's what, they're saying that the public wants, or that's what's been passed in Congress. But there's a total disconnect between what that guidelines say and what the street is saying. Because if I'm lending my money And just think of you, if I'm the bank, I'm not just gonna get you. You walk up in here with a $499 credit score, and you thinking I'm gonna give you $200,000-$300,000 when you obviously have no history of paying your bills on time. When you obviously haven't done your homework, like I've been telling y'all for 3 years now, you didn't do your homework, get your credit cleaned up and everything. So you just gonna lollygag yourself right on into my office and think that I'm finna give you $200,000-$300,000 because they don't have no credit score. There's no minimum credit score on a USDA loan. Yes, there is, because your lender will have an overlay. And a lot of times they want a 640. And look, I know y'all see this all the time. At least I know I do, because a lot of lenders advertise to me, to send them my real estate customers. Oh, we do a FHA loan down to a 580. Okay. Or we'll do it down to a 560. Okay. Just know this, y'all, that they advertise that to get the phone to ring. Can I say it again? They advertise it to get the phone to ring, to get you to call in, and then they'll put you in something else, or they'll tell you they cannot help you. Let me tell you something. If you got a 580 score, you got more homework you need to be doing. This don't make no type of sense. You need to wait until you get that credit score up. But let's say you ain't listening. You just gonna go on, you're gonna apply, and you're gonna run up in here with this 580 credit score. They finna take you through so many changes. They finna take you through so many changes because you got that 580 credit score. Listen to me. Lenders get money from investors. Okay, so it may be this bank, it may be this hedge fund, it may be this bunch of angel investors or whatever, right? They get money into their pile, right? And then they give out loans to everybody else. These investors have guidelines. So the investor may say, I ain't lending on nobody less than a 640 or a 650. What can you do? Where they're talking about this 580, if they're talking about they'll go down to 580, believe me, they got one lender who may say they'll go that low. But then when you see, let me tell you something, when we run you through the desktop underwriter, we get a list of conditions that say you got to meet all these conditions and then we'll do this loan. Conditions. We call them steps back in the day, stipulations, steps. You got to clear your steps before you can get the clear to close, okay? Believe me, if you got a 580 credit score, the list of conditions or steps is going to be pages and pages and pages. You may think, oh, hun, this ain't no approval. I can't do all that. You want me to, you know what? Like, you really want me to, this be signed in blood and notarized and everything. I'm just telling you, the list of conditions or stipulations will blow your mind. So that's why you see very few of those done at 580, because it's going to take, an act of Congress, and it's going to take the patience of Job to get you through when you have a 580 credit score. Because believe me, once you check off one or two things, once you upload all this and you've got all your conditions, it's liable to spit you out some more because your credit is bad. Your credit score is not good. Your credit's not good. You haven't done your homework. So just know, just because somebody say, oh yeah, we can do it from a 580, the likelihood of that happening is next to none. Because the second reason is, not only, let's say you get through all those conditions, you get through those steps, you got the patience of Job, and your loan officer does too. Okay. You don't even want to know what their interest rate gonna look like. When I tell you there's overlays, we call it a bump. It's a bump on the rate. Now, it's gonna be a bump on the rate. So when I have a 580 to a 600 credit score, it may tell me to add on 75 basis points, which is 0.75% to the rate. So the rate today, like the rate Friday, was 7.34. So you want me to add on, because you have this low credit score, I got to add on 0.75. So now we already over 8%. Now, when I put that bump on there, right? So now I'm at 8. I got to run you back through the underwriter to see if your DTI and everything still lines up. Just the bump on the rate may disqualify you. Do you see what I'm saying? So this is what I'm telling you. When you say what credit score do you need as high as possible to get away from all them bumps. There may be a bump on the rate for every, if your credit score is below 640, if your credit score is below a 660. Just know that. Just because somebody advertises to you that, oh, we do loans down to a 425. That's to make the phone ring, people. That does not absolve you from doing your homework. That does not absolve you from going to annualcreditreport.com and get your credit report. That doesn't absolve you from doing Score Master, like I've been telling y'all for months now, and getting your score up before you do something. Just because again, I'm gonna say it again, if it look too good, everything that look good to you is not good for you. So you may be able to get it with that low credit score if you're ready to go jump through all them hoops and everything. But no, the interest rate, there's going to be so many bumps on your interest rate. You probably be looking at closer to a 9% rate than a 7%, just simply because you didn't do your homework and you're trying to get something done with that super low credit score. And one last point on what credit score do you need to buy a house. Remember, and I will link my video that I did before. When you do these assistance programs, like you're getting a down payment or closing cost assistance, like I told you, here in Tennessee, it's the Tennessee Housing Development Agency. It's THDA, THDA.org. They have programs that will help you. They will only help you if your credit score is a minimum of 640 or higher. So again, you thinking you finna walk in here with this 585 credit score, and you finna get this rate that everybody else is getting, and you're gonna get assistance and everything, and you ain't had to do nothing. No, you finna be blown out the water, because you're not gonna get assistance with those low credit scores. And remember, when you are getting assistance from an agent, from whoever, when you are getting assistance, they normally require a higher credit score and a lower debt to income ratio. So for you to get the help that you need, you've got to do the work on your credit score. You've got to get your credit score up. You've got to get your debt down, because once you put yet another overlay, the next overlay is coming from the assistance program. The next overlay is that your DTI can only be normally 36%, 36, maybe 38. So we got to run you again. So see, we done already run you once, and you supposed to got this approval on this 580 score. And you think you doing something, and then, okay, you see that whole 2-3 pages of conditions or steps. Okay, fine. So you would rather jump through all these hoops instead of doing your homework on the front end. That's fine. That's on you. I ain't got nothing to say about that. So then you done jump through all these hoops because you do, for some reason, have the patience of Job to jump through these hoops but not do your homework on the front end. Again, I'm not going to say nothing. Okay. But then you get to the end, and then we got to run you back through twice. Dude, but at this point, you're not going to get nothing, because your credit score is low. We done had to bump you on the rate. Now we done had to bump you on the DTI, meaning we had to bring that back end ratio down. Do you see how when we put the higher interest rate on here, your DTI went up? Now you got to have a lower DTI. Do you see how those two don't go together? How can you? They don't work together. Let me say that again. When you use an assistance program, there's nothing wrong with it. I do it all the time. I do a lot with THDA. But listen, you can't do that with a 580 credit score. You can't get the assistance. You got to have a higher credit score, which means with the higher credit score, you should be getting like normal rates, like the 7.34 that I saw Friday. And you're not going to be looking at an 8. And you're not looking at an 8.5, because as that interest rate goes up, your DTI is going up. You got to have a lower DTI to do the assistance programs. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at what credit score do you need to buy a house. Again, my name is Rhonda Burgess, and I am a real estate broker here in the Nashville, Tennessee area. If you're looking to buy or sell a home here in Nashville, please feel free to give me a call. My number is 615-554-0832. Thank you. And as always, have a blessed day.